Hey y'all, it's almost time for our annual live Christmas giveaway. This time we got prizes totaling up to about $200, maybe even $300 if my bank account right. And this time y'all can go ahead and give back to me too. Honey, I got my Amazon wish list ready and it's got everything on there that I could imagine. But anyways, y'all be on the lookout for the Christmas live giveaway. Now let's get to it. Hi everybody, this is Ashley with Ashley Says So, and I am back with another old Hollywood scandals video, and today we are going to be talking about the beautiful Ronnie Spector and her marriage to that crazy behind Phil Spector. Now, let's get to this disclaimer.
Actually, I'll be taking over this video today. I am the mysterious black bandit.
You ain't no mysterious black bandit. Ever since you did the I Turner intro, you done changed.
This girl crazy. I just came on here to introduce my channel. I am the mysterious black bandit, and if you like true crimes, tragic events, or gangster videos, come check your boy out.
The whole video is hearsay, rumor, and gossip that I find on TV, online, magazine, books, and I ball it all up and I tell you guys a story. It's all for entertainment purposes. Veronica Yvette or Yvette Bennett, aka Ronnie Spector, was born on August 10th, 1943 in East Harlem, New York. Her mother's name was Beatrice or Beatrice, and her father's name was Louis Bennett. Along with Veronica, the Bennetts also had an elder daughter named Estelle. Now, both sisters Ronnie and Estelle loved to sing when they were younger. However, it was not their first concern. Unfortunately, because the girls possessed great looks with light bright skin and wavy hair, they were subject to a lot of bullying. Rumor has it that one day Ronnie was sitting in class minding her business when some little bully girl had come up behind her and cut off one of her ponytails. Now, this incident came after several other incidents of bullying, but luckily this incident was so harsh that Ronnie's mother felt like she needed to move her girls to a different school, and that's what she did. And now that Ronnie wasn't having problems at school anymore, she could focus on what she really wanted to do, which was sing like Frankie Lymon. Ronnie loved Frankie Lymon. Not only did she love his voice, she loved him. You know, she wanted to meet him, to marry him. She wanted it so bad that she ended up begging her mother to make it happen for her. And fate was on Ronnie's side because Ronnie's mother worked at a local diner. And just so happened she was working one night and Frankie Lymon came and walked through the door. And Ronnie's mother comes over and talks to him, and she basically tells him, listen, I have a daughter who loves you. And then she gives Frankie her address, and she's like, please come and stop by sometime. Well, maybe a few weeks later, Ronnie is at home and she's chilling with her family, and she hears a knock at the door. When she goes to answer the door, Frankie Lymon's standing there. He walks in and he tells Ronnie, ooh, you must be Ronnie. You're even more beautiful than I imagined. Of course, Ronnie almost hit the floor. Here she was, 13 years old, talking to the boy of her dream. The story says that Ronnie's mom comes to the front and she sees that Frankie has stopped by. And so she tells Ronnie, you know, y'all sit in the front and chat. I'll be in the back. Well, baby, she goes to the back and 14-year-old Frankie comes and swoops up Ronnie in his arms and he kisses her with a deep, passionate kiss. Then he starts stroking her face and tells her, come on, baby, let's move to the couch so we can get to know each other a little better. This boy is rubbing up on her leg, trying to kiss her again, and she even smelled alcohol on his breath. So Ronnie is like, oh my gosh, you know, I'm just a kid. So Ronnie quickly starts to push him back, and she tells him, you know, hold on, Frankie, give me just a minute. I need to go to the bathroom. She stayed in that bathroom for maybe over an hour, just hoping and praying that Frankie would get tired of waiting and that he would leave. And luckily for her, that's exactly what happened. Now, this episode right here should have showed Ronnie that people in show business are not who we think they are. But she was just too young to really grasp this. You know, she still had stars in her eyes, still wanted the glitz and the glamour, and she definitely still wanted her singing career. So she trained her voice to sound like Frankie Lymon, and soon she asked her sister Estelle and a cousin Nedra if they wanted to form a group with her. The group's name would be the RONNIE'S. And the Ronnie'S started out stepping, honey. They were performing all over the neighborhood. Club owners were eager to sneak them in and book them for shows. And to be honest with you, it wasn't really about their voices at this time. It was really about their looks. But even though Ronnie, Nedra, and Estelle were skating by on their looks, you know, they knew that they couldn't really make a career out of that. And so they kept practicing, they kept rehearsing, and very soon they found themselves with a record deal. But the record that they put out flopped like a fish. And then one day when Ronnie was around 19 years old, she heard news that big-time hit maker, never fail producer Phil Spector was coming into town. Ronnie felt a jolt go through her body. There was something that told her that this was her chance, that she needed to audition for Phil Spector. And so she went back and told the other girls in the group, and they started brainstorming, you know, just how could they set up an audition for this man when he came into town. You know, they started thinking maybe we can corner him when he goes to the bar or to the studio, or maybe we can just kind of wait outside of his hotel room. And then finally, Estelle, I think it was just like, you know, let's just wait till he gets to his room and call up to his room and just ask him. And at first, Nedra and Ronnie are like, you know, girl, shut up. Child, get on out of here, because that sounds stupid. But then they kept on thinking about it, and suddenly the idea sounded so crazy that it just might work. And so when Phil Spector came into town, they put their plan into motion. Estelle picked up the phone because she sounded the most mature, and she called up to Phil Spector's room, and to their absolute amazement, Phil Spector agreed. In Ronnie's eyes, this was indeed fate. And for better or worse, she was right. So the Ronnie'S go and audition for Phil Spector, and Ronnie does not know it yet. But the moment she walked through that doggone door, Phil Spector was obsessed with her. He was taken by her looks, the way she walked, the way she talked. And when she opened her mouth to sing, oh baby, all hell broke loose. Gossip claims they were singing some song called Little Red Wagon or something like that. And then Ronnie steps up and she starts to sing lead. Phil stood right up from his chair and was like, stop! You hold it right there. What's your name, sister? And Ronnie is like, you know, Ronnie? Yes, you, Ronnie. You are the one. You have the voice I've been looking for. Ronnie, Nedra, and Estelle don't really know what to do. But while they are taken aback and surprised by these weird actions from Phil Spector, you know, they are ecstatic by what he just said. But what they didn't know is while they were shouting and hugging, Phil had stopped his little grandstanding, and baby was now sitting up there cutting his eyes to the side at Nedra and Estelle. Baby, it took everything in Phil's power not to say, y'all two over there, I don't know why y'all jumping. I ain't say I wanted y'all skipped up Scoopy Head. But he held his composure and didn't say anything. However, when he got back to meet with Ronnie and Estelle's mother, he begged Ronnie's mother, Beatrice, to let him have Ronnie. She is the one he really wanted. But Ronnie's mama told Phil Spector, I got two girls who want to sing. You either sign both of them or you don't get neither one of them. As a matter of fact, it's three of them because their cousin can't be left out either. And it was after hearing this that Phil Spector finally broke down and signed all three girls as the group, the Ronnie'S. But even though he signed all three girls, he made it clear from the start that Ronnie was to be the lead singer. He also made it even clearer that Ronnie was to be his girl. Phil was constantly romancing Ronnie, you know, constantly giving her all of his attention. Before long, Ronnie started to feel all kind of heated steam coming up from up under her skirt. And it actually wasn't until Phil Spector and Ronnie made love for the first time that she first started to see a different side of him. Phil went from being a man that was sure of himself, always in control, to acting insecure. Said that he would say little stuff to Ronnie like, you know, how do you feel being beauty? Because I'm the beast. Or he would ask her, Ronnie, tell me the truth. How does it feel being with a bald head scallywag? And he would be talking about himself because true enough, he was going bald prematurely, and this bothered him. He started buying like ridiculous wigs and ridiculous hats. As a matter of fact, Ronnie said that a lot of times when they made love, Phil would make love with a hat on. So, that was kind of a change that she was noticing in him early on, but there was something else happening that she really failed to notice early on. First things first, he wanted her constantly around him. And when she wasn't around him, he wanted her to stay home. She was not to go out to eat with her sister Estelle or Nedra. She couldn't go to any parties. And Ronnie would actually do what she was told, but I guess this still was not good enough for Phil. So he told Ronnie that they should move in together. Not only did they move in together, they left New York and they actually were living in California. And this is when Ronnie started to notice that she was kind of being separated. Because when they got to California, Ronnie could not leave Phil's side at all. And I don't think Ronnie knew just how serious it was if she broke one of Phil's rules. But baby, she found out one day, because allegedly at one point Phil was working with Sonny Bono. And Ronnie is at home in the hotel room and Cher comes knocking at the door. Cher is like, we can go shopping, we can go dancing, go get something to eat. And Ronnie is like, no, Phil told me to stay here in this hotel room. I can't leave. And Cher is like, girl, come on, it'll be all right. And not only do they get something to eat, they go shop, and then at the end they end up going dancing. Honey, Ronnie is on the dance floor. She is boogieing and suddenly she feels a yank on her arm. She looks to the side and ain't nobody there, but then she looks down and she sees Phil. Phil has walked into the club with his mad wig on, baby. He yanks Ronnie off of the dance floor. He takes her to a corner and baby, he curses her clean out. I told you to stay your behind put. How dare you go out? How dare you defy me? You're gonna listen to me, Veronica. You will listen to me. Ronnie was, of course, embarrassed and she was hurt, but she loved Phil, so she stayed with him. Since Ronnie couldn't do anything when Phil was at the studio except stay home or in the hotel, when she actually could come to the studio with Phil, she would be very glad about it because there she could get some freedom. She could mix and mingle and talk to whoever was in the studio. But one day she ended up talking to one of the musician's wives and she ended up laughing too loud. Phil Spector looked up and he was like, Veronica, you come here with me. You pull up a stool and sit behind me. And so that is where she had to sit, not only for the rest of that session, but anytime she went to the studio, she had to sit in there with Phil. She was no longer allowed to fraternize with anybody at that studio. But here's the kicker though. Ronnie is dealing with this ridiculous treatment from Phil. And one day he ends up taking her to visit one of his penthouses that she's never been to. So while Phil is doing something on one side of the penthouse, Ronnie just starts kind of walking around, kind of looking into rooms and stuff like that. She opens one bedroom door and there are high heels sprawled all across the floor. So immediately Ronnie in her mind is like, oh baby, this dude really got me effed up. And she calls Phil in there and she's like, Phil, whose shoes are these? But while Ronnie was getting ready to get Phil told, it turned out where she ended up getting told. Because Phil asked her, first of all, why are you all around the penthouse like checking things out? What are you looking for? And second of all, my sister actually comes and stays at the penthouse when she wants to. So those are her shoes. So now Ronnie was sitting up there looking cheap and shame in the face. But baby, let me tell you, a few months after that, she was finna look even more cheap. And because Darlene Love was about to inform her, no, them wasn't his sister's shoes. And they also wasn't his girlfriend's shoes. They were Phil Spector's wife's shoes. Oh, baby, listen, said Ronnie had been dating Phil Spector for at least a year. And this whole time, this man was married. Child, the folks say that as soon as Ronnie found out, she started crying and throwing up. But baby, she could have saved them tears and swallowed that throw up right back down her throat. Because per Ronnie, even though she found this out, she basically just shut her mouth and rolled with it because she did not want to give up her life with Phil Spector, so she kind of played it like, oh, well, like if he ain't said nothing about his wife, I'm not going to say nothing either. And actually, one of the things that she didn't want to give up even more was her music career. She didn't want to mess up things with Phil and him not ever record another song for her and the Ronettes. But with that, Ronnie was beating a dead horse. See, Phil wasn't in no rush to record a new smash hit for the Ronettes. He didn't want Ronnie to have her own success. Matter of fact, Ronnie and Phil had been dating for about 4 years when she realized that her career, her life, and their relationship wasn't really going anywhere. She didn't have no ring, no title, and no music. She started to act a little bit different with Phil. Yes, she did everything that he asked for, but she was no longer smiling, no longer really having a good time. And apparently this is what Phil needed to see, because after Ronnie started acting like this, maybe around 2 months later, he did ask her to marry him. So the story says that Ronnie had her mom to fly into town so her mom could be at the wedding, but that was pretty much the only family that was at the wedding. It was a really, really small ceremony. Well, after the wedding, she and Phil celebrated by going to a concert, and when they were leaving the concert, Phil told Ronnie, hey, you go ahead and go home, I got somewhere else to be. And Ronnie is like, what you mean you got somewhere else to be? This is our wedding night, Phil. Just go home like I said. So Ronnie is like, okay, cool, baby. So Ronnie goes home, puts on her see-through lingerie, looking good, smelling good. And she's just laying in the bed and she's waiting for her husband. Well, about 3 hours pass and Ronnie hears a boom coming from downstairs. And then she hears little footsteps just kind of pounding up the stairs. I mean, it sounds like he is tap dancing. He is coming up so fast. And then, boom! He burst into her room. Wake up, you stupid B. You stupid dumb B. You married me for my money, didn't you? That's why you married me. You don't love me. You just a gold digger. Ronnie is petrified. She don't know what is going on. And so she gets up scared that Phil is going to hit her, and she ends up running downstairs. Well, by this time, her mother, who was staying overnight with them, has also heard the commotion. So she is standing at the bottom of the stairs. Once Ronnie made it to her, they ran into a bathroom downstairs and locked the door. And Phil is just a pounding, open up. You open up, especially you, Miss Bennett. You send my wife out right now. So Ronnie spent her wedding night on the bathroom floor downstairs, locked in the bathroom with her mama. Ronnie did end up forgiving Phil after this, because even though they went through all that, at the end of the day, she was now Mrs. Phil Spector. But the girl was signed to death row. And if she didn't believe it, Phil Spector let her know it's real. When the day after they got married, he had 12-foot electric gates built around their property with barbed wire at the top. Not only that, he had metal bars put on all of their windows. He also had an intercom system installed with speakers in every room of the house. And then Ronnie's nightmare truly began. Phil Spector just would not let her leave the house. She could never really go get herself anything to eat. Anytime she tried, Phil would let her know that they had a chef and he paid that chef good money to cook for them. A lot of the times he would even lock her in her bedroom. That's why he had those intercom speakers installed. The only relief she could get is when she went outside with him whenever he wanted to exercise and swim in the pool. And gossip claims that one day Ronnie had bought herself a bikini and she figured she'd never get to wear it anywhere for real, so she would just wear it outside with Phil while he was swimming. Ronnie walked outside with that doggone bikini on and got cursed the F out. Phil told her to get her behind back in and change clothes. And Ronnie was like, Phil, we are in our own backyard. Nobody can even see us. Yes, they can. I have manservants that work for us. I can't believe you would try to show your body off to them like this. You get in the house and change right now, Veronica. So Ronnie went back in the house and she changed. Ronnie was going crazy. She was losing her mind. And she ended up developing a serious alcohol problem. And Phil notices this. So he ends up surprising Ronnie on her birthday with a brand new Camaro. Ronnie cannot believe it. She's like, oh my gosh, you got me a car? You gonna let me drive places? So Ronnie is like in tears, she's smiling, she's happy. She hops into the driver's side and she's like, I need the key. And then Phil Spector says, okay, hold on just 1 minute. Baby, he takes them doggone keys and walks to the trunk of the doggone car, pops the trunk, and pulls out a mannequin that looks exactly like him. Ronnie's eyes are following him all the way from the back of the car like, what the heck is going on here? Phil opened the passenger side door and stuck that blow-up mannequin, his twin, right there in the front with her. You don't really think I would let you go out there by yourself, do you? No, they need to feel like I'm with you. Then nobody will mess with you. You don't have to worry about any man trying to talk to you. Honey, the man was absolutely batshit. The man was crazy. So the year is 1972 and Ronnie is just over Phil. Her mother is visiting at this time and Ronnie makes up her mind that she's ready to leave this man. So Ronnie and Phil are in the front room and they are arguing, and then Ronnie tells him straight straight out, listen, Phil, I gotta leave you. I can't do this anymore. Phil starts acting a big monkey. You ungrateful bee. I was waiting on the day you would do this. I knew that you didn't love me for real. I have a casket downstairs, a gold casket with a glass top. I bought it for the day you would try to leave me because I'm gonna kill you dead and I'm gonna lay you in that casket and I'll be able to see your beautiful face every day, whether you like it or not. And then allegedly he grabbed a gun and pointed it at her. So of course Ronnie did what she did best, which was took off running to where her mama was at. And so as he's yelling these things outside the door, Ronnie is in the room with her mama and she's just crying. Well, soon apparently she gets so worked up that she starts just convulsing. You know, she's just baby Ronnie's mama slapped the mess out of her, honey, and told Ronnie, you finna stop that mess right now. Now, you doing all that shaking and stuff, you acting just as crazy as Phil. I don't know if Ronnie was faking or not, but all I know is that after that slap, she did stop all those convulsions and stuff. And she and her mama eventually came up with a plan on how to leave the house. Phil had stopped beating on the door, but now they didn't know where he was. However, when Ronnie ran to her room to try to get her shoes, she found that none of her shoes were there. And that's something that Phil Spector would do. Anytime he felt like Ronnie was going to leave him or walk away, he would take all of her shoes and hide them. It didn't matter though. Her and her mama were getting out of that house that day. And so they huddle out of the front door and they are walking down the driveway trying to get to freedom. Well, right when they are at the edge, Phil Spector steps out of the bushes in front of them and he's like, where are y'all going? And that's when Ronnie's mama says, Phil, I'm going to take my daughter for a walk down the block. You put her through so much mess, the least I should be able to do is take my daughter for a walk for her to clear her head. And per the story, Phil looks down to Ronnie's feet and he sees that she has no shoes on, and that's when he says, you know, okay, but y'all don't go far. Miss Bennett don't take my wife nowhere. Honey, as soon as Phil Spector gets back in that house and shuts that door, Ronnie and her mama Beatrice take off running, baby, until they get to a main highway, and there they are able to flag down a taxi cab and told that taxi cab to take them to Ronnie's lawyer's office. When Ronnie got there, she immediately filed for divorce from Phil Spector. And this set up a whole new level of torture. Allegedly, Phil wouldn't let Ronnie get any of the belongings from the house. Also, he would always track down wherever she was, wherever she was staying. He would call all hours of the night, you know, sending her death threats, the whole nine. When the case finally did go to trial so they could sort things out, Phil stood up in the middle of the courtroom telling the judge that Ronnie was nothing but a whore and nothing but a gold digger. And after saying all of that, whenever the court was adjourned, Phil would stand right in front of the courthouse on the steps and just scream out, Veronica! I love you, Veronica! How dare you do this to me, Veronica? Baby Ronnie would be sitting up there running, trying to hear it and getting the car, pulling her shades down and all that kind of stuff. After she left Phil Spector, Ronnie did kind of go into a wild time. She started drinking like a fish now. Not only that, she also started doing cocaine. She also did David Bowie a couple of times. Allegedly, she either did or almost did Keith Richards. And also, some of those rock star guys that she was sleeping with was lying to her, promising her, you know, yeah, we want to record a song with you. Child, them folks up there and record a song with her TT and then wouldn't talk to Ronnie no more. By the 1980s, Ronnie felt so used and so broken that she felt the only thing that would fix her was a baby, and not no adopted baby. She wanted a baby to come from her body. She wanted her baby. She was so desperate for this that allegedly she ended up sleeping with a gay man. But I'm trying to figure out if the man really was gay, because allegedly Ronnie slept with this man about 3 or 4 times trying to get pregnant. But anyways, she never ended up being able to get pregnant. Right when she was about to just give it up and ball up and die though, Ronnie ended up meeting a man by the name of Jonathan Greenfield. He was very charming, and so in 1982, he and Ronnie got married. And then soon after that, Ronnie Spector was finally pregnant. In Ronnie's eyes, it was all rainbow and butterflies from here, but unfortunately, no, it really wasn't. When she got around 7 months pregnant, Ronnie started to experience severe constipation. And this is graphic, maybe TMI, but anyways, when she got on the toilet, she was pushing, but she found herself just having super trouble passing this log. And then finally, she felt the relief and she heard the splash. Ronnie is like, oh my God, thank goodness. And she looks down and she sees her baby in the toilet. Ronnie just starts screaming, my baby is dead. I killed my baby. I killed my boy. But Jonathan Greenfield was like, not my boy. No, you ain't killed my doggone boy. And he went to the toilet and he picked up the baby and he starts trying to get the baby to breathe. And after about 5 minutes, the baby does indeed move. Ronnie and the baby are taken to the hospital and the baby does survive. His name is Austin, but because he is born prematurely, he has to stay in the hospital for several months. Well, while Austin was still in the hospital healing, Ronnie finds out that she is pregnant again. As a matter of fact, she gets pregnant in the month that her first son was supposed to be born in. Her second son is born very healthy. His name is Jason. And from this point on, Ronnie is basically living the life she's always wanted. And I have not touched much on her music, but actually it wasn't all bad after she left Phil Spector. Even though she could not get her career back to where it was in the 60s, at least Ronnie sometimes appeared on TV shows. Sometimes she was able to book several gigs. So, she was content. And then allegedly after reading Tina Turner's book, I, Tina, Ronnie got the motivation to write her own book to tell what Phil Spector did to her. As far as the Ronettes as a whole, in the year 2007, they were nominated into the Music Hall of Fame. And then 2 years later, Ronnie's sister Estelle Bennett ended up passing away in 2009. Band member Nedra Talley is actually still alive, and I think she's married to a minister. And as far as Ronnie, she was diagnosed with cancer in late 2021, and then she ended up passing away on January the 12th, 2022 at the age of 78. All right, guys, this has been the old Hollywood scandalous tale of Ronnie Spector. I hope you guys loved this video. Please like or love this video. Leave me comments too. Let me know how you feel. Also, if you're new here, subscribe. But I love y'all. I will be back soon with another video. Bye. So let's go ahead and get to the disclaimer. Oh.
I'm sorry. Okay, my bad.
You ain't the serious black dude. Think it's a disclaimer.
Actually.
It came out of.
Actually, I'm gonna get this girl back in here. Okay. Actually, dog, I keep saying actually. I keep wanting to do that.
Knock me out.
Sorry about that.